tonight we're gonna make love. You know how I know? Because it's Wednesday. And Wednesday night is the night that we usually make love. Monday night is my night to cook. Tuesday night we go and visit your mother. But Wednesday we make sweet weekly love. It's when everything is just right. There's nothing good on TV. You haven't had your after-work social sports team practice, so you're not too tired. Oh, it's all on. You lean in and whisper something sexy in my ear like, I might go to bed now, I've got work in the morning. I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, it's business time. It's business time. It's business. It's business time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business. It's business time. Ooh, it's business. It's business time. Oh, yeah. Then went in the bathroom, brushing our teeth. That's all part of the foreplay. I love foreplay. A shaka shaka, a shaka shaka, a shaka shaka. Ow. And you sort out the recycling. That isn't part of the foreplay process, but it is still very important. Next thing you know, we're in the bedroom. You're wearing that baggy old ugly t-shirt you got from your work several years ago. You know the one, baby, with the curry stain. I removed my clothes very, very clumsily, tripping sensuously over my pants. Now I'm naked, except for my socks, and you know when I'm down to just my socks, what time it is. It's business. It's business time. You know when I'm down to my socks, it's time for business. That's why they call business socks. Ooh. It's business. It's business time. Yeah. Make a love. Make a love for. Make a love for two. Make a love for 2 minutes. When it's with me, girl, you only need 2 minutes. Because I'm so intense. You whisper something sexy like, is that it? I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh, yeah, that's it. And you tell me you want some more. Well, I'm not surprised. But I'm quite sleepy. It's business. It's business time. Business hours are over, baby. It's business.
That's right. It's Wednesday, and Wednesday is the day that me and Jeffrey usually make love. We're back, baby. It's good to be back. It's nice to see that the system still works.
Yes.
Everything, the cobwebs have been knocked off. It looks like the studio, everything's working. There was a lot of question marks whether or not we'd even remember how to use the system. Jeffrey had a complete upgrade. It's been a long time. It is the slow season, but we're here to recap. Things are heating up. College football, which we didn't talk about in the pre-show, is right around the corner. NFL's right around the corner. Thank goodness the dark days of sports are almost over. There's been a lot going on in both households. Jeffrey, you have been traveling the globe.
Yes.
How you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we I still have another trip coming up in about a month. Me and wifey
jet setters usually do. When you have access to a private jet,
we're heading out to we'll be back in New York City for about 36 hours, and then we're going to be heading to London for a few days, and then also Copenhagen for a few days. So looking forward to that trip with the wife coming up in about a month. It's been 10 years since we took a trip, just the two of us, which was our honeymoon 10 years ago when we got married. So we are celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary. So that should be cool as well too. But
I was married for 10 years.
10 years together for 17. So
I feel like you've been married for like 20.
No. I don't. I'm not. I'm going to watch my words.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've been married for 5, and it feels like 50, and I don't have 3 kids.
Yeah, three beautiful children, 11, 7, and 1 year. 3 awesome boys. And then I got my goddaughter who was there with us as well too. This weekend was great, honestly. It was. You go into a situation like going to New York City, and I'm going there with my in-laws and my children, and I have infants and I have senior citizens and everything in between. And there's a certain trepidation of, you hear these stories of immigration and of the subway being unsafe and the city being unsafe and all these different things. And I couldn't have had it further from that truth, at least for me.
Did you ride the subway?
Multiple times, everywhere around the city.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and it was absolutely fine. And it was people literally, which wasn't even like not needed, but people, if we got on, there's somebody sitting there and they see my wife with a baby, or with my mom or my wife's mother offering their seat on the subway.
That's refreshing.
I was literally, I had a lot of like reflection time as well too, in terms of just, we went into the Statue of Liberty, we did everything, and just, I don't know, just, very, very proud and very humble and very blessed to be able to show my kids, these things that we're able to do and go out and be with. And, then there was a situation, we go to Washington Square Park, which I don't know if you're not familiar with stories. There's a lot of things about Washington Square Park, but it has the Washington Arch, which is gorgeous, right? Beautiful. It's a homage to George Washington and everything that he did for our country, with being the first president, and so on and so forth. And it's this gorgeous arch in the middle of this park on a Sunday afternoon, and we're having ice cream, and but George Washington Square and Park is really well known for homeless people. And it's really, really well known for drug abuse, even the bathrooms, and stuff like that. And, we're there. There's people everywhere. There's vendors everywhere, just like there is everywhere in New York City. But there are homeless people, a lot of homeless people everywhere. And my 1-year-old is just sprinting around the park. And this old lady, homeless, and has her shopping cart, comes up to me, and she just strikes up a conversation. How old is he? 1 year old. Man, you have such a beautiful family. Listen, God bless your family. I hope you guys have an amazing time while you're here. Yada, yada, yada. And then just walks away. And I just thought about it for a second. And I was like, this lady doesn't have to come over and say anything. And most of the times, if you're going to be approached by a homeless person in terms of being around your family and everything, there's a certain level of, standoffish that you have. But I just kind of let this lady come into our space and talk to us for a minute, and couldn't have been more gracious. And like I said, I couldn't have had the most opposite experience of what I thought I was going to have when I was in New York City. And I couldn't be more grateful for the experience that I had. And I loved the city. Central Park was amazing. Unbelievable. We went to the One World, to the very top. Even, I got a chance to walk to the top of the Statue of Liberty with my 1-year-old, almost like a marsupial in my little, they have the little carry-on thing. And it's like, I got to the top, and all the dads are like, all right, Hardo, like, why do that, dude? Like, you could have just taken the elevator like everybody else. And I'm like, yeah, but you only have these certain moments in your life to like,
wait. There was an elevator you could have took?
There's about 35 people in line for the elevator. So me, Liam, Noah, and Oliver were like, you know what? Let's just walk it. We'll walk it. Let's.
And how many flights of stairs is that?
It's 200 and something steps to get up. So
you're talking about like from the base of the statue to the torch?
We didn't go to the torch. No, you can go to. I don't think it's the torch. There's another level there, but basically it's just 200 steps from the base to like almost like the very bottom of where the Statue of Liberty actually starts.
Oh, okay. So you didn't like go up to like the crown or whatever.
No, you can go to the crown. There's an extra 162 steps to go up. I don't know if it's the torch. I don't know. There's another level that you could have gone.
I think that the top I think they used to take away the torch, like you couldn't go up there because of repairs or something. You used to be able to, I think, go to like the top of our head, and then you could see out there. But yeah.
It was so cool too, like just taking the ferry over and like, just being, I don't know, just with everything going on, the assassination attempt, and then everything politically kind of going on in our country right now. It was just cool to kind of sit back and reflect for a minute and, think about the great people who came before us, who helped build the country, and also everything that New York City means. We were staying a block away from the World Trade Center. And so to go through that memorial and that monument and, walking up with my 11-year-old, and he's like, man, like, there's these big water tanks and waterfalls basically that are where the, World Trade Center used to be, going down. And he's like, why do they have all these names engraved? And I'm like, those are all the people who lost their lives. And he was like blown away, just like small little moments like that make you kind of, reflect and be grateful and thankful.
Well, it's nice to see that you could, show them that type of side of it versus, some of the sides that are somewhat taught in schools now, about George Washington being a slave owner. And, obviously some of our founding fathers not necessarily falling in line with our views, of what we have today. And I think in today's world, they would probably have the same views. But to be able to take, the good stuff away and not just focus on that. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like any big city, in my opinion. There's good parts and there's bad parts. Yep. Like if I go to Chicago, I'm not hanging down on what is it, O Block or or Crenshaw.
If you go to Rio, don't go to the favelas.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to find trouble, you can find trouble. I was surprised about the subway, but I think that maybe that's a little bit more like towards the nighttime or something of that nature, because I've heard that from like numerous people that have been there that that the subway is just. And then of course you see the TikTok videos and the other Facebook videos. The crazy shit that happens.
I don't know if it's because, and every time we got on, so we were, like I said, we were a block away from One World, which is where the Oculus is. Which the Oculus is, it's got like the spires basically that kind of cross each other. You've probably seen pictures of it. It's gorgeous, but it's a transportation hub. But when you're that far south, there's not like, once you go toward Times Square, you see the change in terms of like the amount of people and what's going on when you get down there. But being that far south, when we would first get on to hop on and ride, there wasn't a lot of people on there. And then people would kind of get on or get off. But, when we were leaving there, we had some of those different scenarios. But I would just encourage everybody, the media portrays these pictures of places a lot of times, and we get things in a capsule without context. And I would just encourage everybody to try things for yourself, man. It was, like I said, it was truly an incredible experience for us. I could do without Times Square next time. That was I've done Times Square multiple times, and I've never enjoyed it. That's the only thing I didn't enjoy about New York City. Told me
once she like one of her bucket lists is to go there for New Year's Eve, and I said, sure, maybe your next husband will go with you because no. You couldn't pay me to get close enough to that. Now I know that there's like one hotel room, like there's a hotel that like faces like that. Like, okay, I go, yeah, I'll go in that hotel room and I'll stay in the hotel room and I'll watch everybody, but hell no, you can't pay me enough to get in the middle of that crowd.
Well, you can't get in and out either. So you make a decision whether you're there until the bitter end or whether you're leaving. As somebody who's experienced it before, it's not something that I would ever want to do or encourage anybody to ever do.
Well, we are very cultural here at the Uninformed Fan, and we do talk about a whole array of things. We usually don't get into a whole lot of politics, but as Jeffrey just said, the state of politics in this country is something that just can't be ignored at this point. And there was an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, which is turning out to be one of the most one of the biggest debacles
for sure
in Secret Service history. Which and again, this is something that you go down a rabbit hole, right? And you start looking at some stuff, you're going to see whatever you want to see. You're going to see things that are going to tell you that the Secret Service did everything. You're going to see people that did. But after like watching numerous videos that have come out of people in the stands pointing to this person while stuff was going on, two officers, two people saying there is a guy on the roof over there with a gun, people running before the shots were fired. And then I don't know who the lady was that was behind him that was part of I don't know what she was a part of, but the fact is she's looking pulling out her phone and like not even flinching, right? And just filming. It's kind of like when I went back to the 2020 election. I don't care what you think if you think it was a fair election, if you think it was rigged or not. All I'm saying is there's things that should make you question. That's all. It doesn't look right when 250,000 votes show up at 2:00 in the morning and they're all Joe Biden. Okay, they could all be valid votes. You're absolutely right, but it just looks funny when it takes us 7 to 10 days to certify something that should normally take 1 day. It looks funny. And this one stunk to high heaven. And, the fact that I guess he turned his head at the to show a video or something of that nature and saved his life. Unfortunately, there was, one guy that died from one of the bullets, but
tragic. I will say this. Thank God he didn't get hit and killed.
You cannot tell me that this is some type of deep state shit here, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
listen, whatever you want to believe, you have the right to believe whatever it is. I will say this. It looks like a duck and it talks like a duck. It's usually a duck, right? And then having the Secret Service lady in front of the Congress yesterday in the congressional hearing and her just absolutely stonewalling every single question, I thought was terrible. I do understand from a tactical point of view, you don't want to put out too much stuff because you don't want other people to be able to copy a script or to know where your weaknesses are or different things like that. But this was an abject failure completely by the Secret Service. There's no shot or any chance that guy should be able to be on that roof with a gun from 100 and whatever meters it is. It's terrible. Should never happen. Thank God. And I don't say thank God that he didn't get hit because I'm some big Trumper. Thank God he didn't get hit because I would hate to see the aftermath of what happened in terms of the divide in our country and what would happen between the two sides if they had killed Trump.
And what you said there is just perfect. We all have different political views. Nobody wants to see somebody die.
No.
And if you do, you are part of the problem.
Yes, absolutely. And I just going forward, we can say anything we want. I'm glad that Biden has dropped out. And I'm glad that Kamala, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I'm glad that she has taken over because the Democrats now have hope. And my one concern when this happened was that this was done because there was no more hope left in the Democratic Party of winning the election with Joe Biden there. And that even though they missed, they would go ahead and they would try and try and try again until they succeeded because that was the only way that they were going to be able to win. And so I am glad that I feel like, at least for my concerns, that will no longer be an issue because they legitimately think that Kamala has a shot to beat Donald Trump and to stomp down whatever rhetoric they hate.
Also circumventing basically all of our election rules.
Correct.
And if you listen to people months ago, this was planned. There was people that called this exact thing out, not the assassination attempt, this exact thing out. They're going to let Biden go out there and debate Trump to show that he's a fucking idiot and that he is indeed not running the country. And if for anybody out there, I don't care what side you're on, if you think Joe Biden is running this country, I've got a bridge to sell you that you can put a toll on there and make your money back.
I went across it a few times in Brooklyn.
Yeah, there's no way that he is running this country. So they put him out there on purpose to show how incapable he is, to pull him back, and also not be able to have a super PAC or have a Democrat nominee. Because let's also say this, just like Trump had the Republican National Convention, last month, that was the official where the Republicans actually give him the nomination. Like, it has to be given. And it has to be done by electoral votes. There's primary elections that are supposed to take place, and they just bypassed it all. And they went straight to her. And it just shows you, man. It just shows you how corrupt these people are. And like I told Bianca the other day, I just said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done putting my energy towards this. And this is probably not a good thing to do as far as an American, but I'm just done. I will go vote. But outside of that, I have no control. I understand that. I've accepted my fate. All of the topics that people are worried about, especially, the whole transgender thing, the whole, what are our kids being taught in school, the whole curriculum of that go. I don't have children and I don't plan on having children. So therefore, none of that applies to me.
Yeah.
So what applies to me? Taxes.
Immigration and inflation.
I mean, even then, dude, it's just like, it's just why I wish that, if I would have started back a little bit further, I probably could have been a very good political career. But everybody's always talking about the like you said, immigration, the flooding of the borders, all of this stuff. But nobody stopped and said, hey, instead of just putting up a bigger wall and stopping everything or doing this and doing that, why don't we actually look at immigration reform?
Absolutely.
If these guys have $2,000 to $3,000 to give to a mule to be crossed over, and let's be honest, the majority of these people, I would say 85% to 90 to 95, I don't know, are actual just people that want a better opportunity. The 15 to 10% are the ones that are fleeing something or trying to come here to cause harm to our country. Those need to be weeded out. But if they have $2,000 to $3,000 to give to a mole to get them across the border, they have $2,000 to $3,000 to pay to the United States government for proper immigration. There should be no reason why it takes 5 years to vet somebody to come into this country. If somebody wants to come in this country legally, and you're not doing any favors by doing all this other stuff, because let's be honest, when they come over here, they don't pay taxes. And I'll tell you why they don't, because I've seen it firsthand. They claim married 9 on their W-2s. So when they get $1,000 paycheck, they take like $25 out of their paycheck, whereas a normal American's getting $200 to $300 out of their paycheck. So you're really just you're doing everything wrong, and not one side is even talked about. So I just for Biden to drop out like this, and then now there's a video of one of his brothers that said, we're just focusing on the time that we have left with him. Now, I mean, it's like that he's like been terminal, like he's gonna die. And if you look up there, like, bro, there's no way, right? I mean, you look at him, there's no way that is a healthy human being. So whatever they've done to prop him up to get him to these points is shame on them, shame on the Biden family for putting this man through this. It's just absolutely terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
There is a press conference today that is scheduled, I believe, for 3 or 4
Thursday.
I thought it was supposed to be today. I'm not sure, but I thought it was supposed to be today, where he was supposed to address the nation. And so we'll see what happens. I feel like I don't know if it'll ever happen. I don't know if unity is ever a thing that will ever happen again in the United States, but I hope we can get there somehow.
It is today. Yeah.
At what time?
8:00 tonight.
8:00. Okay, for some reason I thought it was mid-afternoon. Might just be whatever.
You gotta have prime time, baby.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you got to cut into your local programming to.
I don't. To your point, I don't think that we're ever going to get to there, unfortunately.
No,
because I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? The people that want to vote Republicans or continue to vote Republicans are going to always do it. There's nothing that a Democrat's going to say. Yeah. But I will tell you this. So I posed this question to Bianca.
It's like
I posed this question to Bianca. Is there anything that the Democrats could do to make you change your vote? And her first thing was, yeah, don't tax me on tips. So Democrats, there you go. You want something.
I mean, I know
there you go.
That, but I felt like it was pandering to Las Vegas and
it's all pandering. It's pandering, just like when Joe Biden's up there saying, "Oh, I'm going to forgive student debt," or "I'm going to do." Right. You ain't going to do shit because you don't have the power. Or here we are 4 years later, and I don't see any of these students banging on a drum, being like, "Where's my loan forgiveness?" Oh, did you forget about that? Did you forget about that?
Well, also, one of the big things they were going to say too is, the problem was going to be Genocide Joe, right? And how are they going to react to the way that he handled Palestine and Israel in the Middle East? And now those protesters don't have that calling card anymore. So
I heard somebody say, and I thought this was an absolute great thing, because you see like these people that are protesting, blocking our streets for Palestine or Israel, either one. And a lot of them are here on visas. A lot of them are at colleges, right? Because, and that's something that America should want. If we want the best and the brightest here, right? We want to be the first in the nation. That says giving scholarships to people that aren't from here to bring them over to be the best of America. They would say if they are caught in a protest or anti-American because they were burning flags as well, they should all be immediately deported. I couldn't agree with that I mean, if you're coming to this country, right? And this is what I always thought was funny about, like, when people come here and they fly the Mexican flag, or they fly, like, imagine going to Italy, moving to Italy, and flying an American flag out your front door.
Well, you know what Italy's doing right now, and I always thought that you'd be interested in this as well too, is that they're offering houses for $1 right now.
I looked into that, Jeffrey.
3 years to renovate the house, and bring more value to it. And you can live there.
I looked into it. Yeah,
And
but there's a problem. Well, the citizenship's a big issue. Being able to get dual citizenship, and if you want to try to get dual citizenship to be able to reside there a lot, you have to have Italian ancestry. So we actually have that. So we
Yes.
could
Oh.
do. We looked into it. We really did.
Yeah.
I knew exactly where you're going. But yeah, so it's not exactly as all. It's a little bit of smoke and mirrors. But we've talked enough about the politics today. Let's get on. The Olympics
Yes.
are starting this Friday, which
something we can unite and cheer for USA over.
it's something that I could care less about. Again, what did you call me this morning?
I called you a curmudgeon.
A curmudgeon, and I didn't know what a curmudgeon was, but I just said basically afterwards that I basically hate everything, and he goes, "That's it."
That's a curmudgeon. That's what you are. You are a curmudgeon.
So the Olympics are starting Friday. We have two flag bearers here. We have LeBron James carrying the American flag and Coco Gauff carrying the American flag. Yeah. Okay.
Congrats to both of them. Coco, hopefully leading Team USA in tennis, and LeBron James. This is going to be very interesting for USA basketball. Have you watched any of the games leading up South Sudan or Germany? The Germany game was great. It was fantastic. It's interesting because LeBron is so old. He's definitely the oldest player on the team. The amount of respect that he carries and the way that his teammates talk about him has been very interesting to me. I don't think LeBron is close to being the best player on the team. I think it's definitely Anthony Edwards. I have my own opinions on the rotation and the way that it works. I wouldn't have Joel Embiid in there. I think Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo are much better fits for the game and the way that it's played internationally. Joel Embiid is just too flat-footed and not quick enough. That being said, watching LeBron take over, they were losing to Germany, and LeBron absolutely took over the last 3 minutes of the game. From blocks to dunks to three-pointers to literally just playing bully ball in some possessions and just saying, I'm not going to be stopped. Listen, guy's old, just watching the way everything kind of worked out and the way that everything went through him, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know if a 40-year-old who just came off of an NBA season can keep that up throughout the entire summer. And I think that's where, as much as they want to defer to him and have this be his little, for all we say about LeBron, he is a very egotistical person, and he plays the game the right way, 100%. But it is a lot about LeBron, right? Playing with his son, maybe not doing what's best for it. It's about LeBron most of the time. And this is another scenario where I feel like it's the same way, where this Olympics is about LeBron. They've assembled an incredible team to go out and play around him. But he just doesn't seem like he wants to be a deferrer to anybody, even though he knows that they might be better than he is right now. It'll just be interesting to see the way the dynamic works. I don't know if they can go unscathed throughout this. And before it started, I thought there was no way that anybody would touch them. I thought this is probably the most talented USA basketball team that we've ever assembled. Now, saying that, when the Dream Team was there, the Dream Team played against their entire competition. There was 6 NBA players in the Olympics then when Jordan was playing, right? Now there's 61 NBA players that are playing in the Olympics. So this is a completely different dynamic when we talk about not only competition, but development of the game and the way that there's superstars that are on other teams. Giannis, Jokic, there's Shai. There are superstars that are on some of these other teams. I don't know if they can go untouched. And I think that's going to kind of suck for the legacy, but I do think this is an incredible roster that they put together. I look forward to watching those games.
I think you're going to find out that, just like you talked about, and I think that one of the biggest issues with when you put these teams together anyway is you're putting together a complete all-star team.
Yes.
And they don't always play good together because they each have their own thing. They each have their own way. Who's going to take the shot? And I think at least, back when you talked about the Dream Team, everybody knew who was going to take the shot. And even Kobe knew who was going to take the shot.
Kobe
Bryant, Kobe Bean Bryant. Everybody knew. Everybody knew who's
with Jordan.
I understand that, but even he knew that Jordan was going to take that shot. Everyone knew
before he played on the team with him.
Yeah, when he's sitting home watching it. Speaking of which, I do have to mention I did get a little roast in of Scottie Pippen over the weekend. I think I have to. I probably should have brought it up, but he posted something about he goes Bitcoin or Ethereum, like which one to buy. So I commented, Bitcoin equals Jordan, Ethereum equals Pippen.
Mm-hmm. So he bought Ethereum.
It got a good reaction on the line, baby. Good reaction on the line. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Olympics, man. To me, the Olympics, I don't know. They're kind of gimmicky anymore, man. I mean, God, I think, there's like table tennis. There's, like golf. Like, what are we doing, man? Like,
what do you mean?
I don't think everything needs to be an Olympic sport. I really
think Bryson should definitely be on the team. He's not. I thought that was a huge misstep.
Same thing they did at the Ryder Cup. It's just I don't know, man. It's like
Keegan now being the Ryder Cup captain, which I think is kind of cool after he just got completely snubbed last time. I think that'll be interesting for Ryder Cup. Also, Olympics. Listen, I'm looking forward to some of the things. Katie Ledecky, obviously. Sha'Carri Richardson, local girl from Claremont, who is just, I think she is going to, her star is going to just become supernova-like in these Olympics. I think it's just going to grow and grow and grow. I think she's dynamic, great personality, beautiful girl, and just an unbelievable talent on the track. I really look forward to that. She ran 1 second slower than Usain Bolt, and Usain Bolt is 6'5" and she's 5'1". Do you know how hard that is to do? Like,
no.
I guess
I don't.
Anyway, it's an incredible thing.
I don't know. Do you know how to shave a second?
A lot of these people who are in Paris right now, and I did my research. I knew it was going to happen. All the monuments are shut down. You're not getting in to see the Eiffel Tower. You're not getting in to see a lot of the other stuff. It's shut down. They have the Olympics. They're not going to take any security risks, especially with everything that's been going on in their country.
Isn't France like in the middle of a revolution again?
So I don't know. I'll give you a brief snippet of what happened. Okay, so Emmanuel Macron. France has three parties, right? They have a left, they have a center, they have a right. Okay, Macron is center. Okay, that usually whoever the president is, their party wins. But whoever wins the majority in their parliament, that majority then gets to have the prime minister that Macron will announce who it is. Okay, so they ran the first round of elections. They have a couple rounds of elections. They ran the first round of elections.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to so it's kind of set up kind of like England, where the prime minister basically runs the country and the president's kind of a figurehead, which would be AKA the king.
I think the prime minister has more to do with what's going on in parliament and kind of the direction of that. Think about it more like Speaker of the House type of a thing, I would say. Long story short, right won on the first round of elections. It was very close in some instances where there was votes being split between the middle and the left. Macron came out and asked 200 of the middle delegates to drop out of the race, which dropping them out then allowed the left to win. So the right won the first
because
round.
They basically took away constituents,
and then they took away 200 people in the middle party, 200 people that were running that were pulling votes from other people to allow the left to then come in and win because they were just so concerned about the far right and how things would happen if they ended up taking over.
So that's basically election manipulation.
So whatever it is, it's not our country. I'm not here to comment about it. I'm just telling you what I know and what I've talked to some French people about the way.
So obviously that put the country of France in an uproar.
Correct. So now there's a little bit of turmoil going on right now. And listen, they're about to host the Olympics. We'll see what happens. This should be interesting.
Can't wait for it to be a political stage. I'll tell you, Jeremy had some just banger titles on the bottom here. I don't know if you saw this, but the more you know. And then the one that he had up there before kind of stuck with me. Does the Olympics make you feel more patriotic? And my answer is no. Like, there was a time, I would say maybe 10 years ago, when it felt like everybody was glued to the TVs watching everything to do with the Olympics. We always wanted to be number one. I don't feel that same passion anymore. Now, whether that's just me being jaded in life, I don't know. But like, maybe. But it was all of the buzz, man. You would walk around, you would see USA shirts all over the place. Not necessary to the point like after 9/11, which after that tragedy, I think that was probably one of the most beautiful times in our country, which is probably why it was an inside job. There you go. Put that on the ticker.
Do not put that on the ticker.
I just don't see it anymore, man. Like, do you remember like 10 years ago? You're old. You're not that old. So 10 years ago, like you walk into like a Dick's or like it would be
I walk into a lot of Dick's in my late 20s, but
you do walk in a lot of Dick's. But there was like USA stuff everywhere, man. Like people were proud to wear. Now, if you wear a flag shirt walking down, somebody's gonna say something to you. Like it's just. I mean, obviously, it depends on where you live. Oh well, I mean. There's stupid things out there with it. Obviously, your shirt offends me. Blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't. To answer his question, Florida man shakes hand at Olympics. I don't know, man. I really feel like, to what we kind of talked about, I just feel like we're so divided that we just don't get together for anything anymore.
Yeah, so for me, I completely disagree. It does make me feel more patriotic. It will have me tuned in. I will be rooting for USA. I'll have a part of me that's rooting for Brazil as well too. Just because I have, my kids are half Brazilian. I look forward.
I'm not going to have an Italian flag flying.
I look forward to being. Was your wife born in Italy?
Maybe.
Did your in-laws migrate over from Italy to live with you and stay with you? Anyway,
I do believe it was the grandparents. Grandparents, yeah.
So
I understand what you're saying. I'm just busting.
I look forward to being in a moment of, maybe somebody who I wouldn't talk to or converse with, and being at a bar or out socially, and all of us with the same mindset and cheering for the same thing.
I'll tell you what, outside of your family,
about a month,
outside of your family, I will root against Brazil everywhere I go.
Yeah, it's fine. I know most people will.
Yeah. So what, before we move on, we've been 40 minutes on politics and the Olympics here. Obviously, which event are you most looking forward to?
For sure, basketball, just because I think that they do have. Listen, Germany's a really good team, and it's cool to be out there and watch France play. France lighting it up with Mo lighting it up. I mean, they are a great 1-2 punch to see Mo dunking on, people from Team USA and doing the Mo things of flexing and being the agitator that he is. I thought was great. But I look forward to the USA, honestly. But I love track and field. I love watching them line up and
Did
watching.
You ever participate in track and field?
Absolutely not. And I think maybe that's why I have such admiration for it as well too. Is that
I ran the 400. I threw the disc.
I was a slow white kid.
I did a 400 relay.
I have been playing basketball the past couple Tuesdays. If you're ever interested, want to come out and play a little bit.
Well, someday when I am healthy to do anything in life, then maybe I'll come out there. So basketball is what Jeffrey's looking forward to. Obviously, we're all going to tune in. No, we don't have the Michael Phelps anymore, unfortunately.
Katie Ledecky that's up there, and somebody else will emerge as being incredible too.
Unfortunately, Leah Thompson didn't make it into the women's bracket, so hopefully we could have dominated there. But what are you going to do? Moving on. We're going to bring in the 3-time here because it is the midseason. We just got off the All-Star break of Major League Baseball, and it's time to look at our mid-season picks to see where we're at. I will tell you this. The National League lost again in the All-Star game. And
who cares? It matters. It matters.
I bet on it.
Not one bit. Okay.
I bet on it.
No, you didn't.
I actually did.
You did not. You did not bet on the All-Star game. What did you bet? What did you bet? You bet the NL?
I bet the National League. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, listen, just stay away from it. The Cubs thing's going to be.
It doesn't even show up on the finish anymore.
Well, I don't even know what place the Cubs and the Braves are right now. But I know.
Well, I'm about to tell you here in a second. Okay. Are you clear for takeoff 3-time? Can I bring you on? I don't want you to get your panties in a bunch over there. Wow. All right, here is the 3-time representing the Chicago Cubs. Holy cow! And for those of you wondering at home, he does surf on that. Yes, so the National League loses again. Paul Skeens, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, is just an absolute beast, man. absolute beast. What a wild ride he's having, huh? Comes
Good for
into
that
the
guy.
National League, wins all of his games, has one of the best ERAs. He has also, I think, Livy Dunn in his back pocket.
Good for that guy.
Yeah, he's having a good time over there. So let's see here in our standings, and let's see how well the boys at the Uninformed Fan have done. Now, I will say this: we talked about this a little bit at the beginning. We've noticed this in football. We've noticed it in basketball. We've noticed it now in baseball. Injuries are just running rampant in American sports. I don't understand it. I've never seen anything like this. I think, me and Jeff talked about whether it's the fact that they're getting paid $45 million, $60 million a year, and they stub their toe. They don't want to take any chances, but it's getting absolutely ridiculous. The Atlanta Braves are the perfect example of this. And I do believe the ownership of the Atlanta Braves are opening up their own hospital. I can't confirm this. Jeff, did you hear this?
Seems legit.
I would think so as well. It's absolutely. Let's start off the American League East. We have the Baltimore Orioles on top, followed by the Yankees. The Red Sox, an absolute surpriser there. Tampa Bay and Toronto. Did Jeff have the Blue Jays winning that division? Hold on, your mic is muted there, buddy.
Sorry about that.
There we go.
Jeff has the New York Yankees. You have the Baltimore Orioles as your pick.
Okay, so all right, so what big stretch there. I tell you,
pretty chalky.
Yeah, the Yankees have been on a roller coaster. I mean, they looked absolutely dominant at times, and then they just laid some dead eggs there. They had a nice little stretch. I think it was 7 games.
Yeah, I was talking to a cab driver on the way to the airport when we were leaving. It was a great guy. And literally, we got into such a deep converation that we missed our exit to the airport, which is pretty funny. But I just feel like
keep that meter running, baby.
Yeah, no. It's a flat rate. When you go to JFK or wherever, they give you a flat rate. It's like $70 plus tolls. It ends up coming out to like $90 or something like that.
Just a joke. Just a joke. Sorry.
Anyway, no, but I was saying this to him. I feel like 162 game season, you're gonna have a bad month. They just happen to have an incredibly bad month, and their incredibly bad month, they're still tied for first.
Well, I mean, when you dig into the teeth of this, Aaron Judge, absolute monster, and they have been on this run, right, where they're 60-43. They did lose those 15 games or whatever out of 17. Obviously, still 17 games above 500. And let me also tell you, that was with Anthony Volpe batting under 200. I mean, you got some shit going on there for the New York.
He also
Yankees.
Botched that ball and that play right before All-Star break that was going to basically end the game and have them sweep the Orioles to finish off that series, and he ends up botching the ball and gets knocked away, and of course the Orioles come back and win. Can't have errors in baseball.
Cannot have errors in baseball. Let's move on to the AL Central, and I'm a little hazy here. I think I might have picked the Twins. The Guardians, Cleveland Guardians, looking really good. Up 5 games, 20 games above 500. The laughing stock of the division right here is, of course, the Chicago White Sox, which the Chicago is just both sides, the laughing stock of baseball. Jeremy, let's go to the numbers. What does the tape say?
Jeffrey has the Cleveland Guardians, which are the surprise baseball team of the year right now. Tyson has, unfortunately, the Detroit Tigers. So
I picked the Tigers? There's no way.
You picked the Tigers. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna have to investigate that list there. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you just didn't write. We're only 11 games back.
Yeah, you got a shot.
I'll tell you what. I saw a stat the other day, and Jeremy, you'll appreciate this. Javi Baez has the lowest on base percentage of anybody in the last 3 or 4 years. It's like 400.
No shot. No, it can't be 400.
It's like 432
on base percentage.
Yes.
No, that's not the right thing then.
Yes, it is. I saw it because they were talking about how they still have $75 million left on his contract. He is hitting 178 for the year.
Okay.
Let me see. Where's
You might be talking about OPS,
I'm talking? Yeah, I'm talking about on base percentage.
on base percentage.
He is for this season. His on base percentage is .212. His OPS is .451.
Okay, OPS is what you're talking about. Yeah, on base percentage. If he was like close to 500, that means he's getting on
Yeah,
one of
he's
32 times.
200.
So he's getting on
His
2 out of
OPS
10.
is 451. It's
He's
one
under
of
the
the
Mendoza line.
worst. It's one of the worst
Oh.
in baseball, and he's still owed $74 million.
Did you pick the Tigers because of Javi Baez? Is that why you went with them?
I have
Probably.
no idea. I
There's
think
probably some
I
kind
think
of
I just
something.
chalked up the AL Central as just a shit division, and I was just
Yeah.
going for something.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't recall. I think that they finished like maybe second or third last year, and they made a couple sneaky moves after the year. I thought.
I mean,
Yeah, it was
they've got
just a
some good players in Riley Green, the local boy.
Yeah, Spencer Torkelson. You know,
How about the
Yeah.
West? What are we looking like in the West, Jeremy?
In
well,
the West,
the West we have the Mariners and the Astros are both tied.
Yes.
Which
So
I think that's pretty much expected. The Rangers 3 games behind, the Angels 8, and the Oakland Athletics are 12. Which I tell you, the Oakland Athletics would look pretty good. I still think, and I don't know who I picked here, but I still think the Rangers are going to contend for this division. So let's go to the tape.
They get Scherzer and DeGrom back, right?
they are. Yep,
DeGrom
they
has
are.
started pitching because I have him stashed.
Well, you
I think
both
Scherzer
have
is
Houston.
back.
We both have Houston.
Both have Houston, so I
Did
have
you
a point
see
for you, boys.
where Trout just had a rehab
Last night,
last
Last-
night? Got pulled from his rehab game.
last
with
two
left,
innings.
left knee after 2 innings.
Can we, as the baseball community, band together and force the Angels to get rid of Mike Trout?
I don't know how
Can we do?
that.
Can we do what?
You should just. You want to start a petition?
Yes. Yes. You have potentially one of the greatest baseball players of all time dying in LA at this shit organization that had both him and Ohtani and still missed the playoffs. What, like, there's no. We need to get together as a baseball loving community and disband the Angels. How about that? We just disband the Angels. There's enough teams in LA. Nobody gives a fuck about anything in LA. They're just there for the appearances. It's not the Dodgers, so it's not sexy. The team's gone. Bring it to Orlando. Bring it somewhere
Bring
else.
him to Orlando.
They
Send
don't
them to
deserve a
Montreal.
baseball team. They do not deserve a baseball team.
The
Yeah.
Rays. The Rays are getting
Give them to Canada. Canada will support it better than this.
Montreal.
My goodness,
Yeah.
put it in Iowa. We can have a team in Iowa doing better numbers than this.
Hmm.
Unbelievable.
I'm
man.
sure the Iowa Cubs have better attendance than LA does.
Well, everybody has more than I don't know about that. The Athletics, yes. I mean, they're just that the fact that guy still gets to own a team is beyond me.
Aren't they spending like 2 years in San Diego too? Like,
Sacramento.
Sacramento.
They're playing it like
Sorry,
they're
not
playing it
even.
like a minor league ballpark with like I think 10,000 seats. Which, if
And-
you look at their attendance, they're averaging I think like 3,500 seats.
Well, and now there's talk that the Las Vegas deal is falling through, so they're trying to petition to keep him back in Oakland.
Justice. That's hilarious.
He's
know,
a very
I haven't-
he's
I
a,
haven't
he's a
decorated,
minimalist. He's a minimalist.
I haven't been able to decorate this. I'm waiting on some stuff for back here.
You're
Yes, I
you're waiting
know.
for your interior designer to come back with the
What happened
proof.
to the
Exactly.
Orlando City stuff?
It's in my bedroom. This is no longer. I'm no longer in my bedroom. I've been freed from my room.
He
since
doesn't
the-
have to
since
sit in his
the
room
roommate.
anymore.
The roommates
gonna need-
are gone.
I'm gonna need
so-
you to look into the camera when you talk. Though, there it is. Oh, look at the sunshine on that face.
Oh,
Woo! It's angelic.
He looks great.
It's the knowledge from above, and this is why we talk about that. All right, let's get into the NL East. It's an absolute shambles. The Philadelphia Phillies running away 9 games ahead of the Atlanta Braves, which I already mentioned. I do believe they're going to just build their own hospital at this point and rehab center. It's absolutely crazy the amount of injuries that have happened to the Atlanta Braves. I just dropped Michael Harris II because they don't even know when he's going to start running again. Like, it's just the Braves are in shambles.
It's unfortunate.
I'm going to give Jeffrey a little bit of pass on this pick because I do know he picked the Braves.
I didn't pick the Braves.
You didn't? You
No,
picked the Phillies?
I picked the Phillies. I saw the writing on the wall, bro. I'm like,
I still
I
think
just
it's impressive that they're only 9 games behind, to be
had
honest.
a weird feeling. We could still make a wild card, honestly, but I just our pitching has to be so good. I don't know. I know Ian Anderson is in some rehab, doing or back from some rehab starts as well too. But Phillies are just really good, man. They got a good team.
They're a pretty complete
city's
team
behind them. They have incredible home field advantage. Citizen Bank, it's gonna go through the playoffs. Sucks to say, but I mean, I'm here to give you winners, not to bet with my heart.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I do believe we both picked Philadelphia on this one, Jerry.
No, Tyson, you have Atlanta.
Oh, I probably went against him.
Yep, you went against him. Speaking of betting with our heart, let's talk about this old
Son of a
NL
bitch.
Central.
What a shit show, man. The Cubs are they're dog shit. As I'm looking over here, I was walking up the stairs and I have the 2016, World Series flag with the jersey. Do you remember the jersey and the towel I had with the hat at Kitty's that night?
Yeah.
Remember that? I have that framed.
You said you'd never
Did you
washed
see
it, right?
No, I never did. Did you see it over there?
It's full of champagne.
Yeah, it stinks too. When I brought it in, the lady's like, I'm like, don't worry about it. Just do it. Absolute dog shit of a team, dog shit of an organization. Milwaukee Brewers loses their head coach, does not skip a beat. St. Louis Cardinals outdoing all expectations. Let's put it in perspective, Cubs fans. Let's get in close and talk about this. The Pittsburgh Pirates are ahead of us. Just burn the whole fucking thing down. Chicago doesn't deserve any sports organizations whatsoever. Just burn it
Pittsburgh's
all
above
down.
both your
All right,
picks,
well-
by the way. Both your picks.
The
I'm
what?
sorry?
I said Pittsburgh is above both your picks because Jeffrey picked Cincinnati and
Yeah.
Tyson, of course, picked our Cubs.
Yeah, and listen, I think if we're going to talk about it, look, Cincinnati has the most dynamic player in all of baseball right now in Ellie De La Cruz.
Absolutely.
And they're in last place in that division. So
He
I
can
mean,
just run. He has a problem getting on the base to run.
he hits, he can field, he's incredibly fast. He's an
He's fast.
electric player to watch. So yeah, I mean, I'll wear the Reds pick. I thought with the young arms that they had as well too, with some of the bats that they were able to drum up, nothing. Unfortunate.
Oh, he's not too bad. He's at 258.
McCain hasn't come back yet at all. That's been tough for them as well.
Who?
I've been really
McCain.
impressed with the Cardinals, to be honest with you. And Pittsburgh probably has one of the better 1-2 punches in their starting rotation.
Yeah,
Very
no,
curious to see what they do. And you know what? Honestly, if the Pittsburgh Pirates were to win this division, I wouldn't be that upset with it. The city of Pittsburgh deserves something. Their ownership has done absolutely nothing. No, I'm just talking about the baseball fans.
Okay,
I'm not talking about
they're
the baseball
lumped in together. Okay.
you know what? They have not been relevant forever. And their ownership has literally made no attempts to put together a great baseball team outside of when Andrew McCutchen was coming up in the league and having a very good run. They've got some really good pitching, obviously, now, which is what wins baseball games. Do they keep Paul Skeens? Do they trade him for an absolute haul? I don't know. But it is nice. It is nice to see the Pittsburgh Pirates over 500. And I couldn't tell you when the last time that was. So let's move out to the evil West. Obviously, the Dodgers, whatever. Padres, Giants, and Diamondbacks, Rockies, 8.5. I mean,
Did I pick the Giants in this division?
the Dodgers are basically a freaking all-star team at this point anyway.
Jeffrey, you did pick the San Francisco. Tyson, you have LA. So both of you guys have 3 division winners or division leaders right now. So that's a tie. And I mean, we'll see what the wild card looks like. What it could be.
I think I did preface it though with the Dodgers are so far ahead that I would, if you want to take a flyer on a team, like a team that could compete, I thought that the Giants would be it. Blake Snell though has not been great. I mean,
I'll tell you this though, looking at their
acquisitions
record,
have
they're
been-
only 29-22 against teams over 500.
yeah,
I mean that's kind of a shock, I think. I mean, when you go against the better teams, they're only 7 games over 500. You look at the Brewer, no, that's still probably tops in the division. Tops in the Philadelphia Phillies, 29-19 over teams with over 500. The Atlanta Braves, 5 games over 500 against teams over 500. Wow. Then you have the Houston Astros.
you know what's so funny too? Look at the run differential, right? For everything. Tell me where the one outlier is for run differential. And
I
then,
don't- I
look at
don't
the
see-
Reds. The Reds are plus 34 in run differential. The Cardinals are minus 31 in run differential. and the Reds are in last, and the Cardinals are in second.
That is an eye-popping stat to be
Wild.
down there. Absolutely. So we'll see what comes up. I don't have a whole lot of hopes for the Cubbies. Coming out, the front office is basically saying they're not buyers or sellers. They're just going to keep on with our mediocre standardship. So
You know what's interesting about this trade deadline too is it seems like there's so many teams that feel like they legitimately have a shot to make it. Like, okay, 10 games back, maybe you're not going to get in there, but wild card is still there. And if you're 5 games back, you're like, listen, we're within one series of striking distance against this team. And so I think because of that, you're not going to, there's too many teams that aren't out of it. You're not going to see a lot of sellers. I don't think this is going to be a very active trade deadline. I just don't see
well,
people
the American League side, you
blowing
have
things
5
up
teams.
or selling, huh?
With the American League side, you have 5 teams that are within 6 games for the wild card.
Right.
And on the National League side, you have 7 teams that are
Right.
within 6 games of the last
Right.
2 spots. So to your point, it is kind of wide open. It only takes, like you said, one good week,
Yeah.
of ripping off 5-6 games in a row. And you're right.
Which is why I could see this just being a very inactive trade deadline. People just kind of staying pat and saying, look, this is what it is. We're going to get better. We'll get this guy back off of the IL or whatever it is, and kind of stay pat. But I could be wrong. We'll see what happens.
Could be. We'll see what happens as well. As far as myself, I don't know how Jeremy you feel, but I'm just kind of I've stopped changing the flags. I'm losing interest.
Oh, no.
Oh yes.
W?
And I even got this awesome throwback. I got the old throwback flag too. Yeah.
You know what?
It's
We just found out some great information about when we're going to be in Chicago for the games.
Yes.
Jeremy, do you want to go ahead and enlighten him?
So the night that we get up to Chicago, September 19th, Thursday night, I just found out our tickets. Is it hearing impaired inclusive evening?
Yes. Yeah.
So the shirts that they're giving away that night, they have it says Cubs and it has how to say it in sign language. So our good friend Drew, who's got us our tickets, sent me a message last night that said, apparently deaf inclusive night for the Cubs. We can get these for an extra charge. I said, that's interesting. Does that mean they'll have captions on the video boards? And he goes, well, maybe Ian will be able to understand what's going on, assuming he can read.
Got him.
So yeah, I might have to snag that shirt just to have it, just for fun.
I think you should. I think you should.
Absolutely. I don't have any Cubs gear. I'm going up there blind, bro. I got nothing.
You don't need it. It's okay. You'll be fine. Wear your Braves things. They'll be fine up there. All right, let's get on. We got a few things more to discuss here. We already hit the 1 hour mark. We knew it was going to be a little bit long, but we're going to kind of go through this a little bit. We do have some NFL news coming up. Some people holding out for their contracts. Some people that have started. We are going to start off with the NFC North, which is, oh, no, we're not. We're going to pause for a second.
I was going to say, do you want to keep Jeremy in here for some Bears talk real quick, though?
He's always welcome. I was just continuing. He's always welcome. So Jordan Love has come out and said that he will not sign or he will not practice until his new contract is signed. Now, while it does seem, I guess, in par with what to me, it kind of hit me from left field because you heard nothing about this until like even the offseason OTAs, the voluntary, the involuntary, none of that came out into the picture. And then all of a sudden, boom, looks like he's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL, which the Packers have the room. They release their P&Ls as they are a publicly traded company, and there's plenty of money in there. There's plenty of money for the banks. I think they made $500 million last year.
The coffers are full.
The coffers are full. Business is good. For me, it is what it is. I mean, go for it, man. He had one good season. The intangibles are there. I mean, there's no denying that. You can see that are there. But to lock him in, I certainly hope the Packers have some outs because to me, it's just one of those things that I just absolutely hate about sports. We've talked about this, Jeff, numerous times. It's like, okay, well, it's a contract year. I play good this year. And all of a sudden I get a good contract. Javi Baez. We talked about the Chicago Cubs, right? And that team, they let Rizzo go, Bryant go, and Javi Baez go after a year. Now where are all of these people at? Chris Bryant constantly hardly ever plays. Javi Baez, we talked about laughing stock. And then Anthony Rizzo has been somewhat platoonable with the Yankees over there, but it has been often prone. So they made some good decisions there. This to me is going to be wow. I mean, so what are we looking at here? $60 million a year?
No, I don't think you said highest paid player in the history.
That
of
is the
NFL.
projections, is that he will be the highest paid player.
So I said this in pre-show. I think what'll end up happening is you'll see this deal get done the next day or two, because I don't think they want him to really miss any camp, and they have the money to do it. I think it'll be front-loaded first 2 years. I think last few years will be a little bit more team-friendly for the simple reason that they have a lot of these guys that are just drafted. They're one of the youngest teams in the NFL, so on and so forth. You have 2 years of kind of a buffer right here to kind of really make your run and make your push, pay your quarterback, get Jordan Love happy, and then in a couple years, when you're going to have to pay the other guys, you'll have more of an idea of who you're going to pay, how you're going to pay them, and you'll have the money to do it because he'll be on more of a team-friendly deal when it comes down to that. And I think signing players early is a good thing because the cap is only going to continue to go up and go up and go up. So a guy who's going to become a free agent in 2 years, if you're not re-signing him, his cap hit is going to end up being $70 million in a year or two, as opposed to right now, it might only be 55 or 60. So in the long run, you might actually end up saving 10 to 15 over the course of those last few years of the contract.
Shefty's predicting 55 to 56 or more.
Okay.
I could care less. My biggest thing is this, is that here we go. We're paying these guys $55-60 million. Now we all know that they don't get that much money after the government steals their portion and then the state steals their portion and then everybody gets their lick of it. However, it is theft. But when the tickets continue to go up, the NFL packages continue to go up. Obviously, we're the ones that pay for it. I'm in a blessed position that I can afford to do this. But at what point is it like, where I think it was 4 or 5 years ago when we went to the Bears game, we were at the lower bowl all the way at the end. It was $456 face value per ticket. That was 4 years ago. What are those tickets now? $600. So like we're taking a passion in America of sports, right? Because let's be honest, outside of soccer or football in Europe, I don't think that there's any other country that has a passion for the NFL in the world. Obviously, soccer's king over there, but there's such a passion for this. And I just feel like, to your point, it's good. The cap's going to continue to go up. Why is the cap going to continue to go up? Well, it's going to go up because of new record TV deals, because the price of a jersey is going to go from $100 to $130. The price of a hot dog is going to go from $9 to $15. It's just, I just feel like it's just getting egregious to this point. But again, let me get off that soapbox. But anyway, for the Packers to lock him in, to your point, absolutely right. So you lock him in for 5 years. At the end of that 5 years, a mediocre quarterback is probably going to be making $50 million. If Daniel Jones got 40, what did Baker end up getting? 35.
It was somewhere around there, 30, I think, 30, 32, some child.
Did you just raise your microphone?
No, I didn't. I had it muted for a second because there's some crying babies.
No, you're good. Your voice it came in. It came in. Yeah,
sorry.
I know, Justice. I know, Justice. He neglects his children. I don't know. Like you said, I think the intangibles are there, but I think this is a crapshoot signing. I really do. You had one good year. You sat back. How long has he been in the league now?
He really didn't have a one good year. He had a really, really good last 8 games. If you look at his last 8 games, I think he ended up throwing for 34 touchdowns, 11 picks, something like that was the total. But the last one, it was like 18-3 and through his last 8 games. So,
but that's what I'm saying. So outside of those games, nobody was looking at Jordan Love to be the next coming of the quarterback world. He was mediocre before then, correct? And he went on that stretch, beat the Cowboys, and now we're all sitting here being like, hey, this guy has the potential. So I don't blame him.
Some of us saw the potential before the year.
Well, you didn't see it through the first 8 games.
I know you tried to get me to get off the bandwagon as much as I possibly could. I think I did at one point, actually.
They sucked. They sucked there for a while. I think it's finally interesting, man. The NFC North is going to be an absolute gauntlet. Depending on what happens with Minnesota. Between what happens with Minnesota and, if they can get a quarterback to do halfway mediocre, this defense is going to be much improved. That offensive line is good. The Lions are still the Lions. The Packers, obviously, represented the NFC North further in the playoffs. And then let's talk about the baby Bears. Caleb Williams finally does sign his contract.
Jeremy, take over for 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay.
Sure.
Not without running me through the ringer. And then once the details came out, most of the stuff I didn't say, okay, but trying to exclude the franchise tag to me was that's just something you're trying to buck the entire system there, right? So like the other stuff, trying to get paid as an LLC, I 100% agree. That way you don't have to pay taxes. Trying to get it fronted as a loan versus a payroll, so you could avoid taxes, absolutely. Because like I said before, the amount that these athletes are taxed is absolutely egregious. When you make $65 million a year and you walk home with 35, there's a problem with that. There's an absolute problem with that. So I have no problems with him being able to try to circumvent some of these things to try to get out of taxes. Obviously, Illinois has one of the higher state taxes as well, property taxes as well. It's just things after things in Illinois, which is why we all fleed. Now, with that being said, contract signed. I said this numerous times, and obviously I want this to come to fruition, but I think if he balls out in the first couple of years, I think it could be something where he doesn't play years 3 or 4 until he gets a new deal. And to me, I can see him going the LeBron James approach. And if your talent can justify that, sure. And what I'm saying by the LeBron James approach is he's going to have his 4-year deal. I think he's got like 40 million guaranteed or something of that nature. After that, he's going to be commanding, if he performs to the way that everybody thinks he's going to perform, if he takes the Bears to the playoffs and, God willing, a Super Bowl, he will be the highest paid. So why lock yourself in for 5-6 years? Why not just do the 2-year deal like LeBron James does and just reset the market every 2 years? He has a very good business acumen. He has a lot of people around him. That is my fear. And it's a good fear to have, I guess, when you're looking at a quarterback like that. And why do I fear that? Because I don't want him to get paid. No, absolutely not. My fear is that he will soak up so much cap space every year that they won't be able to build around him. And that is my biggest issue. I've said it from the beginning. It just seems like there was a lot of red flags when it comes to his contracts, wanting partial ownership, whatever the rumors may be, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's my biggest issue, but that's down the road. I guess the bottom line is he signed the contract. The team's locked in, ready to roll. Let's see what happens.
Jeffrey, welcome back. This is the first words I've been able to get in since you left, so didn't even matter. I think Caleb Williams is in a good spot. I really do. I'm excited for the Bears season. I know you are as well.
We're excited every year. Like I told my parents, is it going to last past week 4 this year?
Exactly, but I think this year, there's a lot more. He's got the weapons they put around him are going to he's got playmakers everywhere, behind him, next to him, in the slot, on the edge, tight end. I mean, it's if the offensive line can keep him upright, and that's what everyone tries to do. And I think, like you said, the NFC Central is going to be the toughest division in the entire NFL this year. It's NFC Central North, sorry. And I think they're going to be the toughest. I mean, between Lions, Packers, the Vikings, who are looking at starting Sam Darnold. That's going to be their starting quarterback. He's been running with the ones since OTAs. JJ McCarthy not ready yet. I mean, I think it's good for Minnesota. Chris will be happy. I don't know if he'll like Sam Darnold if he starts seeing ghosts again, but it's going to be a really great season. And once again, the bet with Phil is back up and running. So we will see how that goes.
And remind us again what the bet is.
The winner of the Bears-Packers first game gets to choose how the loser dresses for the second game.
Just one game, huh?
Just one game. Put all the chips in.
That's pretty ballsy, dude. I think I would have to go the series here, and then at least that way, if it's a push, you can save some face there, because I really feel like, I was listening to somebody do the Bears schedule predictions, and, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's funny because I've listened to some sharps, and they think that week 1 best value you can get right now is Tennessee Titans plus 4.5 against the Bears, just because you're giving a rookie quarterback 5 points, nearly 5 points. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think everything that you said about talent, being surrounded, if this was anybody else, like we're giving Caleb Williams these weapons without knowing what Caleb Williams can really do. Now, I think that I know what Caleb Williams can do. I think he's a generational quarterback. And I think giving him this structure around him is going to be incredible. And the sky is the absolute limit, right? But there's also, let's talk about fantasy wise, right? Like, who do you want to trust on that Bears team? There's so many mouths to feed, you know, from DeAndre Swift, you know, who's going to be in a timeshare, from, you know, now a Dunze in the slot, DJ Moore. There's a lot of mouths to feed, and I don't know how he gets to feed all of them and make everybody fantasy relevant on his team. If he does, he might have one of the best fantasy football quarterback years ever. Now, to get back to Jordan Love, and also, or not to get back to Jordan Love, to touch on Caleb Williams, I will say this. You're worried about what's going to happen in year 2 and year 3, right?
No, you're 3 and 4. But as I just said while you were away, it's a good problem to have. But
I think it's a great problem to have. And I think if you look at a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just recently signed a guy like Trevor Lawrence to the long-term deal that he did, and the hype surrounding Trevor Lawrence, there's a big question. Do you think Trevor Lawrence has been a disappointment so far in the NFL, or do you think he's lived up to the expectations that we have before him? Now, we can say we're going to throw out year 1 because he had Urban Meyer, and that was a shit show, so on and so forth. Now, next year, he ends up almost beating the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs, and then obviously a little bit of a down year last year as he had some injuries. Now, when they drafted him number 1 overall, I guarantee you the Jacksonville Jaguars said, guess what? After year 3, we're giving him the max that we can and signing him for as long as we possibly can. This is the exact same thing with Caleb Williams. It is not a problem. It is not an issue. Now, the question is that will Caleb Williams sign this? You know, and also what kind of, I think Caleb Williams is at a point now where he is, you're right, he does have enough business acumen where there will be elevators, right, in this contract that he ends up signing in a couple years from now. But I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's a great thing to have. And I think you give him whatever he wants, honestly. If I'm
going to disagree with you there. Just when you walked away a little bit, I said I could see him taking the LeBron James approach, right? Because he's going to get his $40 million. So to your point, he has a very good business acumen. He's going to invest that money. His goal is to be a billionaire by the time he's 30. So with that being said, he could definitely. So okay, like what you said, right? If you sign a quarterback now at this rate for 6 years at $50 million, come years 3, 4, you're actually going to start saving money, right? I could see him doing a 2-year contract approach to where he continues to re-sign every 2 years and reset the market every 2 years with what as long as he's producing.
Okay.
My concern with that,
team hostage and then just have a player option after every single year.
Well, that's what I'm saying. My concern with that is, you know, obviously as you try to lock in, to your point, I don't think that there's ever been a time when a rookie quarterback or any quarterback, I'll say any quarterback outside of maybe Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins. Tell me another quarterback that has more weapons than this kid has, right? You have DJ
Trey
Moore,
Palmer, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, pretty good.
Who are you going to compare Trey Palmer to?
I mean, I think Trey Palmer is pretty good. You're comparing Tyler Boyd and Trey Palmer at that point.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, I could see that. But I just feel like, obviously, that's also a very veteran team, which is, you know, good.
Yeah.
And that's.
I mean, listen, a Dunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore.
I can't do anything with the Dunze because he's a rookie, and I haven't seen anything out of him, so I can't even put him in there.
Though. He's going to be your slot guy.
But you still have DJ Moore, who's a proven receiver. You have Keenan Allen, that's a proven receiver. You have Cole Kmet, who has proven that he's top 10 tight end. I'll give him top 10. And then you got Gerald Everett that came over as well as another backup tight end. And then we just signed, who was the veteran that we just signed, Jeremy? Tight end as well. I can't remember his name.
Gerald
we just
Everett.
signed another Gerald Everett. No, I think that's who we already had.
Gerald Everett. We signed Gerald Everett, came from LA. We have Mercedes Lewis, who's still on the team.
Mercedes Lewis that just came on, right?
He's
been there for 3 years.
No, we just signed one.
No, Gerald Everett's who we just signed.
I'll say this. I think Odunze has a chance to be the most fantasy relevant pass catcher on that team. Because let's talk about what is going to happen. listen, Caleb will take shots downfield. DJ Moore will have his flashes that he'll have. But in terms of a PPR or a target monster, I think Odunze is going to be that guy. I think you'll see a lot of personnel with him in the slot. I think checkdowns will be very prevalent. I still have questions about the Bears' offensive line and how good it will be going into next year. And because of that,
Always
I think you're going to look for quick throws and get the ball out as quickly as possible if you're Caleb Williams. And with that, you're going to look at a slot guy, right? And so that's why I think Odunze will have really good value in terms of where he's going to be drafted as well, too, and possibly not even drafted in some drafts.
Yeah, we re-signed Mercedes Lewis on June 10th.
Re-signed.
He wasn't on the team last year, though, was he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we still re-signed him. He was a free agent. We brought him back. I like that to bring in that veteran is what I was trying to say. Is another veteran, another scheme that's played on multiple offenses, multiple different schemes. I just like that to be able to get him. And then I don't know why Jeller ever went on the non-active football injury list for 2 days, but that's something else. I don't. To your point, Jeff, it's a good problem to have, right? But I just don't want to get to the point where it's all me or nothing, right? Where, I have to go back to Brady, man, and the things that he did and the money that he took to surround himself with the best players possible. And I think if you want to be the best player, what?
It'll never, unless Caleb Williams has a significant other and marries somebody who's making $100 million a year being a model, it's not comparable.
I see how it's still not. I mean, you only need X amount of dollars to live. I guess this will be the point I have is, do you want to win or do you want to be rich?
I want to do both. And Caleb Williams thinks he's good enough to be able to carry a team by himself. So good luck.
That's my issue right there. That's my issue. There's a lot of players on that NFL field, my friend. One person can't do it all. You have to have somebody to get open to throw to. You have to have somebody to block for you. You have to have somebody to have a run game. Otherwise, they're just going to feast on you. There's a lot of different moving parts. Obviously, the quarterback's the most valuable position. And again, if it happens, it's going to be a great position for the Chicago Bears to be into.
Patrick Mahomes disagrees with you because Patrick Mahomes puts the team on his back every single week, no matter if it's Travis Kelce or Noah Gray catching passes, no matter if it's Kadarius Toney dropping balls left and right.
But I don't think Patrick Mahomes has ever been the highest paid quarterback. And if he did, maybe it was for 1 year.
The guy's still making 50-something million a year.
Now he is. Anyway, moving on. Some other holdouts. CeeDee Lamb holding out. Will not practice until he gets a new contract. We talked about this a little bit. The Dallas Cowboys are just an absolute shambles, man. Yeah, and I love it. I'm so here for it. Love it. Love it. Is he going to get a contract? I mean, I think he's getting $18 million right now. So it's not like he's getting chump change, but
I don't know. And
I'm assuming he wants 25, 26.
Like the Bengals just said they're not negotiating with Jamar Chase as well, too, which is very interesting. I think the problem for the Cowboys, if you look at it, is going to be you have CeeDee Lamb who wants to get paid. Dak Prescott's in his last year of his contract. They didn't re-up him. Question marks around Dak as well, too. And then you're going to have a guy like Micah Parsons. All three of these guys believe in their heart of hearts that they deserve to be the highest paid player at their position in the entire NFL. Well, guess what? That doesn't work. You can't have three guys being the highest paid position player in the NFL on your team and make it work roster construction wise. So I don't know what Dallas is going to do.
I think that's why it's so hard when you look at NFL, right, to win back-to-backs and what the Chiefs are doing, to your point, and what Patrick Mahomes, how he elevates that team. I think that's why it's just so hard to continue to win, because if you draft correct, right, which they've drafted correctly, they've got some studs on there, and then they all come to fruition at the same time, it's like, that's why you're better off trading them. And then you get crucified by your fan base. Why are you trading Micah Parsons? Because we can't afford them all. No, they're not going to grasp that, right? There's going to be like, you just let one of the best players go. And then if he goes on and balls out, great. And then if you bring in somebody else and they fail, I think that the NFL rosters have got to be one of the most frustrating front offices to put together a team, because there's just so many moving parts. Everyone wants to get paid. Everyone is, to your point, highest paid receiver, highest paid D lineman, highest paid linebacker, highest paid running back. Like,
there's not a team that has more pressure on them this year than the Dallas Cowboys to win and win a Super Bowl.
If they do not, every year though.
Well, no, I think this year is the year. You're talking about Mike McCarthy possibly in the last year of his deal. right? We're talking about CeeDee Lamb. We're talking about now you have Diggs and now you have Deron Lamb on the back end. You're talking about having DeMarcus Lawrence to go along with Micah Parsons on the edge, right? Now you're talking about, okay, Dak Prescott. You brought back Ezekiel Elliott, right, to be the thumper in the backfield to go along with Tony Pollard. This is the year. If it's not the year, I could see Jerry tearing the whole thing down.
A lot of people thought he should have torn it down all last year.
I thought he should have. But
I mean,
just because I think Philly, if you look at Philly and the way that they've drafted and the way that their roster construction is in a better position. I think the Giants roster, besides the quarterback position, is a great roster as well, too. I think Washington is getting better with Jaden Daniels and with their defense that they have. Is trying to shore up some things on the backside, the back half of their secondary as well. Now they have a quarterback. Listen, that division is not going to get any easier. And if you continue to just do the things that are going to make you relevant, but only mediocre, you're never going to push through to win. You got to tear it down at some point.
do you eat your mediocre fried or do you grill it?
Depends on how I'm feeling in terms of diet-wise.
I'm making
in terms of being bloated.
Making a bold prediction here, right? I'm making a bold prediction. Put it on the record.
Yeah.
This year's NFL season will be the most competitive we have seen in the last 10 years. When, to your point, like we just talked about the NFC North, we haven't even talked about the AFC with the Bills, the Bengals, the Ravens, and what they're doing, the Dolphins. You know, the West is kind of whatever. I think that, the West is pretty much just San Francisco's to lose, right? I think we can all pretty much agree on that.
I think LA will be relevant with Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. I don't think you can ever count the Rams out.
I agree, but I mean, overall,
so
they might beat him head to head.
Like,
huh?
is Ayuk? Are they going to work something out with Ayuk where he showed up to camp, but he wants to trade? They're talking about, do you trade Ayuk straight up for Devontae Adams? There's talks already that Devontae Adams is going to be on the New York Jets in the next 2 weeks. There's still a lot of moving parts that we haven't figured out. And listen, it's about to be August, right? We're about to be a month out of NFL.
Let's do this real quick, because I know that we got a little bit of time here going on, but let's just look at this real quick. The AFC East: Bills, Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots. The only one out of there is the Patriots. Throw them out. All three of those teams are competing this year.
Bills, I think, will take a major step back this year.
Still compete. The AFC North: Ravens, Browns.
The Bills will not make the playoffs this year.
Okay. Jeremy, noted. AFC North: Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Bengals. The Browns obviously made some great moves. That's going to be a great division. The Steelers, we'll see what happens. Mediocre
best division in the AFC by far.
Mediocre Mike always seems to happen. The AFC South: the Texans made a huge leap last year. They're going to be able to continue. The Jaguars have made some good moves. The Colts, can Richardson and that team stay healthy? And the Tennessee Titans, to me, to your point, with the best value on week 1, I would have to agree with that, because the Tennessee Titans have made some very sneaky moves, and
Absolutely.
that wide receiving core is looking good.
Yep.
If Will Levis can continue to make that step, that's another great division.
Yep.
Then we have the West: the Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos, Chargers. That one's a wash. That's just Chiefs.
It's the Chargers and the Chiefs. That's all.
Yeah, the Raiders are terrible. The Broncos.
What do you think, Jeremy? You made a face about that. Why? Why do you
think I don't think the Chargers are going to be as good as everyone thinks they're going to be this year. I mean, they've got Justin Herbert, but I mean,
yes.
Didn't Eckler leave?
Yes.
Keenan Allen's gone. Jalen Guyton's gone. I mean, who do they have? Mike Williams, who can't stay on the field. He was on the field for 6 games last year.
Mike Williams is now on the New York Jets.
So there we go.
With Aaron Rodgers.
Who is Justin Herbert throwing to?
I don't think it matters that much.
Who is Harbaugh handing the ball off to?
Correct.
Who do they?
There you go.
Sorry.
I agree with Jeremy here. I really think it's the Chiefs, and there's nobody else. I do actually think this. I do think the Denver Broncos will surprise a few weeks this year.
The Raiders might surprise people, to be honest.
I think we're going to end up betting on the Broncos and the Raiders more than we like this year. And that's just because the public is going to undervalue them, and they will have a very inflated number week after week.
So moving on. So right now we have one conference out of the AFC, one conference that we think is not going to be competitive. So 3 out of 4 competitive. Let's go to the national side. So the East: Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Commanders. I think all 4 of those teams make viable runs this year at some point. The Commanders probably going to be on the back end of it. I think the Giants have done some really good things. I think Daniel Jones is going to ball out this year. I really just keep him healthy. The kid, I compare him a little bit to Jordan Love. I know what you're going to say about that, but when you look at the stats and look at the capabilities and what he was able to do when he was healthy, and then with absolutely no talent around him, I thought that he performed well, which is why they gave him that $40 million contract. We'll see this year. I don't know who's going to be running the ball for the Giants this year.
Malik Neighbors is a dog, by the way.
Okay,
Malik Neighbors is going to have a year.
Yep. So I mean, do you think I think that everybody's going to compete? I don't think that it's going to be a rollover like it was in previous years with the Commanders, and I don't think it's going to be a rollover with the Giants either. I think both of those teams make steps up, and I still think that that's probably a two-headed race as far as who's going to win. But I think the Giants and the Commanders make some noise along the way.
I agree.
Okay, great. NFC North, we already talked about Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears. They're all competing this year. That's going to be a brutal conference.
Vikings are going to suck.
Love you.
Love you too.
We'll see. NFC South, Bucks, Saints, Falcons, Panthers. I don't think the Bucks are going to cruise to this conference this year. As much as I would like to say that, I think the Saints are going to buck up. But more importantly, what I think the dark horse is going to be the Atlanta Falcons.
It's nobody's dark horse. They're the favorite to win the division. They're not a dark horse.
Well, I don't look at the favorite, Jeffrey. I'm just going with what I think.
I
don't pay attention to the experts.
I think that the Bucks have something that a lot of other teams don't have, which is continuity. They've pretty much brought back everybody who is relevant on the entire roster and team. The more that I thought about it, I was like, man, yeah, Atlanta. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck the Falcons. They suck. They always find a way to suck. The Bucks win this division, hands down. Again, no
with Kyle Trask.
No questions asked. Now, yes, you're right. They've been very blessed in terms of health and in terms of wealth. They've been very blessed when it comes to that.
No way Baker goes 2 years in a row without getting hurt. No way.
Why?
No way.
Why?
I'm just saying it's a law of averages.
He's never been injury prone in his career. He's not like he's missed a bunch of time because of injuries.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'll keep going. I'm going to bring up his injuries.
I think Dennis Allen sucks as a head coach. The Saints, I think, are in turmoil. I think Carr is okay. Not great.
Not great.
And then Bryce Young. I don't know if you saw the picture of Bryce Young heading to training camp.
Looks like a middle
There's
schooler.
no way that you could tell me that kid's not in 7th grade. That is the epitome of like, Dad, like I got my backpack and I'm going to school for the first day. 6th grade was cool. We had some bullies. 7th grade's going to be better. Like that is the picture that I saw of him walking up into training camp.
No one looks like he could beat him up, you know?
It's crazy. It truly is.
So he's had a shoulder labrum tear twice. He's had a knee strain, labrum tear again. Wow. He's had 3 of those.
How much time did he miss?
A couple games. That's I'm not saying I take that back. I'm not saying that he's going to miss time. Like as far as
That's what
I'm
you just said.
No, I didn't mean like the season. I just feel like he's going to miss at least 2 games, and Kyle Trask is going to come in and absolutely ball. And now you're going to have a quarterback controversy. That's all.
You just want that because of all the Kyle Trask memorabilia you have.
Nah, I could care less about that. I just want to see the kid get a shot because when we did see him go in, he had that beautiful pass to Chris Godwin that he dropped in the end zone. I think he's got the talent. I just don't know why he can't produce it on the practice session, right, versus the game. So. All right, so Jeffrey has the Bucks by a mile over there, but I think we can still agree, though. Can we agree that the South is going to be a little bit competitive outside of the Panthers?
I'm not saying by a mile. I think the Bucks win the division. Hands down win the division.
And then we go to the West with the 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals. That one, I think that, he did take it down. Yep. Again, so when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing basically 2 conferences that are not juiced across the NFL, and I think it's going to be an absolutely monster year, and I cannot wait. It cannot come fast enough.
Whoa!
It cannot get here. I just want to be a Bears fan past week 5 this year.
8 days.
Let it happen.
8 days.
What's in 8 days? The Hall of Fame game?
Hall of Fame game.
Is anybody even going to play? Is anybody going to play?
I don't care. It puts football back on TV. It's Bears versus Texans. It's Canton. It's Gold Jackets, Green Jackets.
Devin
Orange
Hester,
Jackets. I
baby.
don't care. Devin Hester's going in. Let's go. I'm ready.
Devin Hester, did you see the video of him unboxing his jacket?
Oh,
Those
hell
videos
yeah.
are pretty cool, man. Those videos are.
We
Bro,
doing a
Right.
show next week, or you want to take another week off?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We can do a college preview since we didn't get to that, or we can do a college preview right now.
No,
No.
So
I gotta go get lunch.
I got to go check on my babies.
yeah,
Just
that
gotta
you
go.
need to do. So you heard it here first, everybody. The NFL season this year is going to be absolute juicer magooser. Hopefully your teams produce well for you, unless they play the Chicago Bears, and I hope you guys suck. Other than that, Xander Schauffele did win the U.S. Open or the Open Championship.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, congrats
Majors.
on that.
8 under on
you-
the weekend.
Are we
That's
still doing the Gap Wedge Wednesday? Are we putting out picks or anything? Or is that taking a hiatus?
We've
A
had
little bit of sabbatical
hiatus.
while
Little
we
sabbatical, yeah.
reorganize and retool some things.
And for those of you that are wondering, yes, this is a slow season, so we're definitely just spotting shows in here, but we will be coming back with a little bit more unified
We're like a light
football
period.
program. And we're going to focus, I think Jeffrey said as well, a little bit more on some fantasy numbers as well, so we can try to get you some of that information that doesn't follow along Matthew Berry and those clowns over ESPN.
But
Other
Pedro
than
Martinez
that-
anymore. He works at NBC.
No, they're even better. Even better. Anything to add before we final it up, gentlemen?
Looking
Great.
forward to football.
Everybody, have a good driving over this week. Please, for the love of God, stay out of the left-hand lane. Until then, we'll see you. Check the socials when we go live again.